back with that action right.
The Knoxville Nationals Copenhagen Classic, 20 laps of flat-out racing for these outlaw sprinters, Steve Evans, and as we said earlier, a full field, all of whom have tried to guess the setup here after the night race rained out, and now they've just got hot weather and a potentially very dry racetrack to work on.
And a dusty one, it looks like, Brock. You know, you can just throw out everything we've seen before, maybe other than the performance of Steve Kinser, because as you heard everybody say in our pre-race interviews, this track has changed. There's a lot of guesswork going on by the crews as to what compound of tire to run. This is going to be a very abrasive track. It'll be very hard on those outside tires. And here comes the start. And on the point, it's the 49 car, the popular Danny Lazowski. The yellow machine leads him down to turn number 1. And filing in behind him, the 12X, the blue machine of Leland McSpadden.
But look at that white number 20 car of Kelly Kinser taking a high road to move into second place on the outside of Leland McSpadden. McSpadden down low, Kinser high, off turn number 3, into turn 4 and down the front straightaway, and Kinser takes over second spot.
Kinser driving like a man with that last name is supposed to, just flat out. Leland in the 12 blue car. I don't know how long he's going to enjoy third place, Brock. Here comes Ronnie Daniels, 24D, the gray machine. Jeff Swindell, the orange car, 1T moving up. And Kenny Jacobs, also the 56 red. That is all the battle for third spot as they put the pressure on Leland McSpadden.
Down the front straightaway, McSpadden goes high. Daniels in the 24 car comes off turn 3 in third spot. Jeff Swindell right behind him. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. There is Swindell riding in the 4th spot. Daniels right in front of him, holding on to 3rd.
And Kenny Jacobs, that 56 red car, he is in the 5th position. Leland McSpadden has slipped all the way back to 6th in number 12. And Steve Kinser is now up to 7th and taking a shot at 6th position right now. That's Ron Schumann just behind the 11 car of Kinser.
There goes Kinser by McSpadden. As you saw a tearaway fly up onto our screen, one of the many that these drivers wear to keep their goggles clear. As we watch Kinser down low, and he moves by Kenny Jacobs to take that 5th spot. Remember, Steve, you've got gear selection, wing angle, bar settings, shock settings, tire selection, everything critical here today to make these race cars work on this track.
Well, it's Ron Schumann, the 7R car, next to pick on Leland McSpadden, who is continuing to move back in the field instead of forward. That is the battle for 7th. Ron Schumann putting a lot of pressure on him.
All right, the race begins to form up between these two cars. 1T, Jeff Swindell, 11, Steve Kinser, the guys that started in the 7th and 8th spots, and now they're moving up to begin to challenge the leaders. Let's see if Swindell can hold off the charging Steve Kinser.
Kinser is in the 5th position. Swindell just in front of him is 4th. And here comes Kinser, and he gets him on the inside. Swindell got off into the marbles, and that cost him dearly.
It sure did, as Steve Kinser now moves into the 4th spot. And look at this, Steve. Ronnie Daniels rides it high into turn number 1 to take the lead away from Danny Lasowski. So Daniels down the back straightaway opens it out a little bit. Daniels staying high up there on that cushion, rim riding they used to call it in the old days, as Daniels moves way out. But look at this. Kinser has now taken over 3rd place, a solid position, and beginning to set his sights on Danny Lasowski for 2nd spot.
Well, Steve Kinser's march to the front is going to be slowed here because we have a yellow flag out. The caution flag is out. There does not appear to be any kind of an accident out there, just a car who apparently is stranded and in a dangerous position. Yes, sir. In fact, the problem is over on the inside of turn number 4, the 6M red machine of Tim Munson apparently spun out, didn't appear to make contact with anything, and it shouldn't take more than a moment for a wrecker to get out there and push him into the pits. The pits is just right behind him, so that won't take long.
Well, this is an advantage, of course, for Steve Kinser because he moves up right on the rear nerf bar of Danny Lasowski in the 2nd spot. So we have leading it under caution Ronnie Daniels, Lasowski, Steve Kinser on a charge in 3rd spot. Kelly Kinser's cousin, Jeff Swindell, round out the top 5. But it's going to be interesting, Steve Evans, to see whether or not the two less experienced drivers up front can actually hold off the master as we get ready for a restart.
We have a restart, Brock. There are 12 laps remaining in the A main. Staying high is the 24 car, the gray machine of Ronnie Daniels. Steve Kinser dives low in the 11 machine. He takes 2nd spot away from 49, Danny Lasowski. Only 1 car remains in front of Steve Kinser.
Steve Kinser very orderly charge toward the front and down low one more time to take the lead coming off turn number 4. So the inevitable almost is occurring here as this incredible combination Kinzer and his uncle Carl, the engine builder and mechanic on that number 11 automobile, take over. And I'll tell you what, Steve, I would imagine something's got to break on that race car for Steve not to win this thing.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And I'll tell you, Steve would be proud of his little cousin, Kelly Kinzer, in the 20K car. Kelly has been holding off Jeff Swindell in the orange 1T car for that third spot, lap after lap. And look at this. Swindell is not making any ground on the man who is a rookie here, Kelly Kinzer.
Well, Steve, remember we were concerned that this racetrack could turn into a one-groove ballpark, but not so. Jeff riding a low groove. Now he's gone up high. And look at this. He's going to bobble enough to let Danny Lasowski buy him. So Jeff Swindell gambled on that high side, and it did not pay off. In fact, it hurt him badly. So Swindell will come back at Lasowski and try to regain that spot. But right now, that was a costly error for him.
Well, I don't know that Jeff went out there on purpose, Brock. That orange car might have just slid right out from under him. There's some slick spots developing on this racetrack.
Right, so out of Dover, Missouri, Danny Lasowski, not carrying quite the big reputation that Jeff Swindell does, has moved by him and is running very well indeed.
Well, Steve Kinzer in the 11 car passed Ronnie Daniels for the second spot some time ago, but he's having a hard time shaking Daniels. Daniels hanging on tenaciously there. If Steve makes any kind of mistake, Ronnie will be right back in the lead. And look at the precision of both of these drivers, riding just high enough to hang those outside wheels into what they call the cushion, that little bit of loose dirt, but you don't want to get quite that high.
So here is your race one more time for fourth as Jeff Swindell takes back the position that he lost to Danny Lasowski a couple of laps earlier. So Jeff Swindell now in that fourth spot, but really right now a little bit of a surprise, Steve, not in any position to challenge Steve Kinzer for the lead, which we thought would probably happen with these two guys starting side by side.
Well, now Danny Lasowski, the bright yellow 49 car, is going to have to defend his fifth spot because that is the 1B red car of Steve Butler that wants it.
Well, Steve, believe it or not, even though this race is only 10 miles long, 20 laps here and a half mile, tire wear becomes a factor. This racetrack has become very hard, almost like asphalt, and that right rear tire takes an enormous beating, and it could be that Lasowski's getting some radical tire wear that's slowing him down as we watch Jeff Swindell sitting in the fourth spot.
And how about up front here? You know, Ronnie Daniels has got to have his fill of Kinzers. First it was Steve Kinzer who took his lead away, and now it's his cousin Kelly Kinzer in the 20K car trying to take second place from him, and Kelly does it. We now have Kinzers running 1 and 2.
Here you see Kelly in the number 20 car around turn 1 into turn number 2 and down the back straightaway, and that is his cousin, the leader, Steve Kinzer, in the number 11 car, just lapping Fran Bruns and holding on to what appears to be an insurmountable lead. Heading down underneath the white flag, he is on his final lap here, Steve.
Well, we have got some action for second spot. Look at this. Ronnie Daniels, 24D, the gray car, has retaken second spot back from Kelly Kinzer, trying to prevent a Kinzer 1-2 finish here. We are on the last lap. Steve Kinzer will come around for the checkered flag. There it is. But what about the race for second place? It is going to be Ronnie Daniels in front of Kelly Kinzer as they come out of turn number 4. Ronnie Daniels takes second spot. Kelly Kinzer settles for third.
Good job by Ronnie Daniels to hang in there and retake that second spot with only a lap left as we watch the winner, the number 11, that famed number 11, Steve Kinzer, coming in as the winner of the Copenhagen Classic here at Knoxville. We'll talk to him and the other top finishers right after this. We had a little bonus here at Knoxville. We started out in the night, saw some night racing, and then finished up in the daytime. Down on the front straightaway, Steve Kinzer, the winner, has stopped around a cluster of fans. Steve's in there.
A wonderful drive, Steve. Did the track have any surprises for you?
Well, the track surprised me. It didn't start getting rubber down. I figured they'd go this whole show by getting on the track that soon, and it got rubber down right there toward the end where you could run right in the middle of the track.
You know, last night on almost a perfect racetrack, if you were free of traffic, you could run all the way around here full throttle. Didn't look like you could do that this afternoon.
Well, you couldn't. At the start, it was pretty slick, and you just run into cushion now. It's the track got real quicker there at the end to get the rubber down, so it's one of those deals where you're up there running the loose stuff, you don't know when to pull down and try to get into the rubber, so I tried it there one time, and it felt pretty good, so I just dropped it in the middle after that.
Again, terrific job. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Brock Yates with second place.
Well, Steve, I'm with Ronnie Daniels, who ran a really strong second. That guy in number 11 was a little hard to handle, but the rest of the field, you held off in real good shape.
Thank you. The car just worked good. Everything seemed to work in our favor today. Thought after last night that we might be in trouble from not being able to run with the track in good conditions the way they were last night. But today we made a few changes and a little help from Bobby, and we had all the right equipment. Everything.
Ronnie, you got after the yellow, Steve got by you, and then you moved right back up on him and gave him a good hard run, and then he seemed to break away from you a little bit right near the end.
Well, I kind of think he was kind of taking it easy and not really running as hard as he could, because it was obvious.